Hello, I'm Alistair Charlton, technology reporter for the International Business Times UK. Today I'm going to look at the BlackBerry Q10. Now, this is the second BlackBerry smartphone to be running the new BlackBerry 10 operating system, the first being the all-touchscreen Z10. Obviously, the difference between the two is that the Q10 has BlackBerry's traditional physical QWERTY keyboard. So above that, we've got a 3.1-inch screen with a resolution of 720 by 720. So it's HD, but it's square, so you're not really going to watch films or play many games on it. But then again, that isn't really the point of this phone. Underneath that screen, we've got, as I said, the physical keyboard, which is the BlackBerry trademark, and each key has sort of a little textured a notch to it, so it's quite easy to sort of get your thumbs into the right place to type quite quickly and quite effectively. I moved to this phone from a Samsung Galaxy for a couple of weeks, and it takes you a while to get used to, but once you are used to it, you realise it's actually quite good, and the autocorrect works quite well as well. Around the sides, we've got a metal frame. Right-hand side, got a volume up and down buttons and a media pause play button. At the top, you've got the power button and the screen lock. On the left-hand side, there's a micro HDMI port, so you can connect it to a television if you do want to watch something on a big screen. And you've also got a micro USB port for charging and syncing. Something that's quite quirky about the BlackBerry Q10 is that the back panel is finished in what looks a bit like carbon fibre. BlackBerry say it's some kind of fibre and glass weave. And yeah, it looks like carbon fibre, which usually on this kind of device looks a little bit tacky, but I think they've just been just about subtle enough to make it look quite good. Underneath that is the battery and access to the micro SIM and a micro SD card slot. Above that cover, there's an 8-megapixel camera. That's exactly the same as the one in the Z10. And the front-facing 2-megapixel camera is also the same as the Z10. Inside the phone, again, it's the same as the Z10. There's a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM, and there's 16 gigabytes of storage. And of course, that can be increased with the micro SD card slot. It'll take cards up to 64 gig if you do want to store a lot of music or films on here. Of course, if you are an iPhone user or a Samsung Galaxy user, you probably aren't looking at the BlackBerry Q10 as an alternative. Touchscreen technology has come on leaps and bounds since we saw the first iPhone in 2007, and really the virtual keyboards you get on those phones are incredibly good now, and they've sort of made the physical keyboard not obsolete, but certainly less as desirable as they once were. But that doesn't mean BlackBerry is wrong to make this product. BlackBerry knows that there are a lot of business users that use their Bold or their Curve every day for email, for social media, for text messaging, or whatever. And they know that there will be a demand for this phone. It's taking BlackBerry back to its roots in a way. So while Samsung with the Galaxy S4 puts a load of features in that are a little bit gimmicky, you know, waving at the screen, making the screen scroll with your eyes, we don't really need that in a smartphone. BlackBerry has taken a very simple approach. They've said what you want from a phone is to communicate, to be able to get to your phone, to your contacts, to your text messages, your emails, your social networks. And the BlackBerry Q10 does that perfectly. With the BlackBerry 10 operating system, you've got the hub, so you can just swipe across to that, and you've got immediate access to all of your notifications for all of your email accounts, your social media accounts, your text messages, and everything else. And it feels very much an integrated part of the phone, whereas the notification system on Android or on iOS feels a little bit like it's tacked on top. The hub on BlackBerry 10 really feels like it's part of the overall package. Downside of BlackBerry 10 is, as it was the case with the Z10 a couple of months ago, is still the lack of applications. The Q10 does come with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Foursquare, YouTube, and a few others pre-installed, which is great, but when you head over to the BlackBerry World application store, there isn't much there. There's no Chrome browser, there's no Instagram. A couple of applications aren't really applications. I downloaded BBC News and BBC Sport and found that actually they're just links to the web page. So that's kind of cheating. There are more applications than there were a couple of months ago. There's various news apps, weather apps, iPlayer, that kind of thing. But it's been a slow transition from the older BlackBerry system to BlackBerry 10. And we hope application developers sort of step up a gear and bring some more apps to the platform soon. Otherwise, it's a good phone. You know, the performance is great, the battery life is good, especially because the screen is quite small, so it will last all day, probably a day and a half, if you don't use it too much. Sound quality is great, service is fine, never had a problem there, and yeah, it's a great communicator. It gets the job done. It is a business phone, first and foremost. It's not really for entertainment so much, but it does what it sets out to do incredibly well. It retails for £535 SIM-free, or you can pick it up free for about £35 to £40 per month. I'm Alistair Charlton, Technology Reporter for the International Business Times UK.